I started to get involved in amateur dramatics when I was about 5 years old. Both my parents were amateur actors involved in a group in North Harrow called the Imperial Players, and I can remember being allowed to stay up and watch them rehearse till about 8 o'clock at night, and then was taken home, and I just fell in love with the magic of theatre through that. I approached directing a play by, first of all, immersing myself in the text. I need to know that backwards and every nuance of it fully before I start to think about the type of actors I want involved to inform the way I go about an audition process. I have a different method depending on the type of play that I'm involved in. Not every technique that I've used in directing the Cemetery Club is a technique that I would necessarily use if I was directing Shakespeare, as I've done, or a straight drama. But how I always approach it is to work backwards from opening night and find in the text what are the scenes that are going to have technical difficulties, so that you give enough rehearsal time, build your rehearsal schedule around what needs to be rehearsed most. I don't start at the beginning and work through to the end. I start with the stuff that's needing the most attention. And I expect and I want to encourage my actors to be really familiar with the text and what other people say about them, as much as what they say about themselves. I was drawn to Seaford Little Theatre, even though I don't live in Seaford, because I have for many, many years gone to amateur theatres all over Sussex, and in that time have come and seen productions here, met the people here, and enjoy it as a theatre club that has got very high standards, and also has a great deal of fun when they put plays together. I have worked with upwards of a dozen different theatre companies throughout the time I've been here in Sussex over the last 30 years, and I've been actively involved here as opposed to just being an audience member in the last couple of years, when I was able to be in a production here myself as an actor, and after that I was asked if I would direct here, which I was very, very happy to do.
Yeah, some of the people that we have come down to set building start off with that purely in mind. They're not really sure exactly what they want to do in the theatre necessarily. They just see that as an in to find out what the theatre's all about, and they know that they can use a paintbrush or a screwdriver or whatever. But we often find that over time, usually through necessity, that those people are asked if they are interested in taking on other jobs. Not necessarily on stage, it's quite often backstage. So you will find people that are now operating lights, operating sound, working front of house, doing stage management, that had never come down with that in mind, probably hadn't even considered that as a possibility because it might have been outside of their technical reach as they thought it, and have subsequently discovered that they can get involved in that way and quite enjoy it, and will actively look for that role in some of the productions that we put on. One of the interesting things about entering the amateur theatre world as a man is that there is quite a big gender differential between the number of women that are involved and girls that are involved in amateur theatre and the number of men, particularly of a certain age. You can usually find women across all of the ages, whereas with men it tends to be that the vast majority are in their 40s plus. Which in itself creates problems both in terms of casting and in terms of the plays that you put on, so that you can find, and I have done in a number of plays, found myself playing a role that in the script is identified as early 20s, when I was clearly nowhere near that age and had to use a lot of hair dye and find ways of achieving the end result that was credible. It also means that you, as a man, you find it much easier to get yourself cast in productions, because every theatre group that you go to immediately welcomes you with open arms, and there are times when you'll come to an audition and you'll be the only man auditioning for that role, so you know that you're in it, whether you're right for the part or otherwise. I have done a huge number of plays at Seaford, and one of the difficulties is that if you're casting everything, A, the audience gets sick of your face, and B, you can find yourself settling into a rut. So my method of dealing with that was to look at other theatre groups, and I now belong to at least another 3 theatre groups that put on plays, in order to mix and match some of the opportunities that are around for the roles that are out there. And that hopefully means that you are better suited sometimes to the roles that are available.
I was asked back to do a play. I found it incredibly difficult to remember the lines, very difficult. And I'm just slowly getting back into the swing of it. I love theatre, but it can be a very frightening experience. So with this particular production, they wanted someone, to act as a prompt, and prompting is the unseen artist that performs with those on stage. You're living with them on that stage in a curious way, and it takes an actor to prompt. It does. It takes an actor to prompt, because you're kind of reading their mind and understand. You know the play better than they do, actually, because you know all the parts of the play.
Well, tomorrow's definitely sold out, the matinee. And here comes Catherine. Have you found out what seat you're sitting in?
It's either these two or these two.
It's not those two, it's these two. There's so many plugs in there.
Okay.
So we're just waiting for the critic.
No.
Don't tell me.
She's getting married again.
I don't believe it.
Just goes to show you're never too old.
She's too old.
She's the same age as I am.
I rest my case.
You want to start talking age? After all, next month
Don't
you're
you
gonna
dare.
It's like watching my two older sisters fight. And you're only 3 days younger than me. Look who's talking. I was there when you celebrated your 50th birthday for the 4th. I didn't know such thing.
Oh, yes, you did.
I'm very proud of my age. I happen to think I look pretty terrific in those photos.
Coming to see how the audience are doing. As soon as the audience are in, we can give the word and we can go.
And I say, enjoy it, really enjoy it. You've done all the hard work, so now enjoy it. Keep focused on what we've been saying.
The show will be starting shortly, and so could you please take this moment to switch off any mobile phones, pages or watch alarms. Your attention is drawn to the emergency exit signs over the doors, and this theatre is fitted with a hearing loop system for your convenience. Thank you.
Boulevard, undressing me with his eyes, and she asks, what's the matter?
Again, someone was following you?
Can I help it if men find me attractive?
Another one like you I wouldn't find.
You think it would be alright if I went over?
I think she'd love it. Oh, come on, walk.
a lot of shops. We had a lot of shops empty. There seems to be a lot.
Well, we'll clear her up and it'll look perfect.
Tell him, Mum. Tell him I said goodbye.